An arithmetic sequence story. Once upon a time, there was a space explorer. She was so excited as she settled Mars. When she landed, she hopped right out of her spaceship and got to work. The first thing she saw was a 3-petaled flower. How nice, she thought to herself. But as she looked at it, suddenly she saw 3 more petals. Then 3 more. As she watched, it continued to add 3 more petals every time she blinked. She thought, that's strange. She didn't even notice it was coming closer and closer towards her. She looked down and saw how close it was, and then she thought, does it want a hug? Or will it eat me? She pondered this question for a moment, and then she made her decision. She went to her spaceship and she got her sign. I come in peace, it said. All right, this sequence has a pattern, and we're going to analyze it. What is the pattern? In this sequence, it started at 4, and every time she blinked, it added 3. There's several ways to write about this sequence. One of the ways is to use the term previous number. So if we said previous number plus 3, that is one way to describe this sequence. But mathematicians don't like to say previous number. That's too many words. They're lazy. They want just a little notation that they can use in an equation. And so instead of previous number, they use f with a parentheses, x minus 1, and that just means previous number. And then they say plus 3. They could also write this with an A. Sometimes you see it with an A in the little tiny footnote, and it's a word. It looks messy, but it's just a word that says previous number plus 3. All right, I've revealed too much. Let's back up for a second. So these are 2 ways to write this using previous number. Now we could also write this another way. So we could say we have a beginning number. Our beginning number, in this case, was 4. So we could say 4 plus 3, but this is kind of strange. We have to decide how we're going to represent this. We're repeatedly adding 3. Now we don't want to use an exponent because an exponent's repeated multiplication. To say repeated addition, we want to use a parentheses with an x minus 1. Now this looks a little weird, but let's just reason through it for a second. If repeating adding is multiplying, so we're going to say it's multiplying. But where did this minus 1 come from? The first time we only saw 4. That means that we need to have 4 plus 0. And so this x minus 1 shows us that we add 3 one less time than we would think. So that's what our x minus 1 means. So now, in order to make this an equation, we need one more thing, and that's an f of x at the beginning. F of x is another word. It just means the number you're looking for. Or you could say it's y. So we have got f of x, which is the number we're looking for, equals the previous number plus 3. Or if we want to write it another way, we can say it's the beginning number plus 3. And the number of times we're adding 3 is 1 less than we would think. Now we could also use the A notation on these if we wanted to. It's a little easier actually because we don't have so many parentheses, and those parentheses are kind of scary looking. So we could say A with a subscript. They say A sub n, which just means it's a word, the number you're looking for, equals 4 plus 3. And an a minus 1 is 1 less time than you would think. Actually, in this case, this should be an n minus 1. And that's an introduction to arithmetic sequences.